All right. I still insist, Jerry, that we find music for this introduction. Make it a little bit smoother coming in.
Otherwise, we may sing.
No,
we don't want to sing.
we will not sing. Tone deafs are another story.
That's right, right.
But hey, everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Two Dudes Arguing Life, Drinking Beer. Did I say that right? Over beer.
Over beer.
Yeah. So
Close enough.
For those of you who have not seen this before, don't understand the concept, we are in fact just two dudes. We've known each other since 1977.
Long time ago.
Long time. Arguing life. Now, when we say arguing life, we're hoping that we don't actually argue, although we have been known to do that. We're going to discuss life.
Yes, and I assure you, no wrestling, no physical contact.
Nothing like that. Over beer. So over beer, since we met in 1977, while it was certainly not legal then for us, we did drink beer. And that is one consistent piece of our relationship from 77 to today, is we still both really enjoy beer quite a bit. So we'll get into what the beer aspect of this is. So we do pick different topics that are relevant to society today. We have covered AI. Was episode 1.
That's right.
And I just noticed something today. I just want to let you see, Jerry, that if you notice, this dude right here has 5 fingers in front of the beer and apparently no thumb. He's magically holding it. So AI has lots of failures.
So much for AI. It's still early.
But I saw something today that was really fascinating. They were making a movie completely AI.
Oh, really?
It was stunning. It was stunning. And our second episode 2, was immigration. And I will admit, while we agreed quite a bit on AI, immigration we did not. And I still have strong feelings about immigration, and we just plain disagree.
And I don't know if the purpose here is to change each other's mind as much as to discuss and understand each other, where each one's coming from, find common ground when it exists, and understand maybe why there's differences. And from that, maybe the policymakers can craft a better policy.
Hopefully. And we did, of course, make sure that we were drinking Modelo, and immigrant beer, and German beer.
Yes.
We did, just for the fun of it.
Yes.
Just for the fun of it. Today's topic is another one that is really, it's getting more
in the headlines.
Yeah, it's more in the headlines than ever.
Right.
But it has been building and building and building, and this is DOGE. Now, I will admit, Jerry and I have not yet discussed this. I don't really know what his position on DOGE or Elon or his team are. I have opinions, and I one of the things we will say is that we don't do a lot. Well, Jerry might do a lot of research. I don't do a lot of research. I tend to respond emotionally to these topics. I do grab my information wherever I can, but I do respond emotionally.
And I think the reality is you have to balance information and emotion to come to the right decision.
Yes.
You're not going to make the right decision probably in a textbook alone, but at the same time, one needs to be informed. So there's a good balance there.
Yeah, and just one last thing I would say about our differences that we've discovered as we grew up. I've grown older. I don't know if I grew up.
I still haven't grown up.
But you can even see how different we are in the way we dress. This is my uniform. This is what I wear to be comfortable. I'm a sports fan. I'm an Islanders fan. This is my garb. This is comfort.
Now, for me, this is not what I normally wear. This is, my style right now is 1970s, all the president's men. But it just signifies a different personality, different view of things.
Is that velvet?
This is corduroy.
Corduroy. I remember corduroy pants.
Hey, I have to, it's been around for a while.
Yeah. All right, so now let's get to the beer, because Jerry had what I thought.
Before we go there.
Go ahead.
I had to call you something, and you had to call me something.
I'm sorry. So to be crystal clear, we have defined ourselves as these different. How different can we be?
Right.
Jerry, my dear friend, is in fact a libertard.
And Tim, my dear friend of more than 40 years, is in fact a deplorable.
I'm a deplorable. we accept these roles. I mean, in fun, we accept
Yes,
these
yes,
roles.
yes.
We really do not get mad at each other or make fun of each other.
There's
Not get mad, but we
there's
don't
too
get-
much history, too much friendship, too much trust, and appreciation for each other to get mad.
Yeah.
We will
yeah.
debate.
We'll debate and disagree, and it can get hot, but
Yes.
it's just debate.
And then we have a sip of beer to cool off.
And we do. Yeah. So I thought, Jerry, you were very clever in this week's beer, this episode's beer. Jerry says, can we do a blind taste of both a very high-end beer and a low-end beer? And what I did is I went to a beer distributor. I said, I'm looking for a very high-end, top-notch beer that I don't know, right? That I've never heard of, so I wouldn't already know I wouldn't have a preconceived notion of what that beer is.
You wouldn't recognize the taste.
And then for the lower end beer, I was just going to go to a gas station and pick up the cheapest beer at the gas station and use that as a comparison. Ironically, the guy from, oh my God, it was e-cigarettes and beer on Hempstead Turnpike.
We can get him as a sponsor for next time,
Yes,
but go ahead.
we will. It's the guy Vinny from, oh my God, we even took a picture so I wouldn't forget. But anyway, great beer distributor up on Hempstead
Okay,
Turnpike in Levittown. Guy was very, very, very smart. He not only found me this hot, he says, let's go German. Why don't we go German? I said, well, I mean,
Sounds
most
good.
beers you think come from Germany.
Yeah.
So he grabbed me a very high-end German beer, and he goes, this beer here is Germany's gas station beer.
Which we're about to find out
Yeah.
what that tastes like.
Yeah, so
and
he
how
said-
that compares.
He said, "Yeah, this is their Bud Light, their Coors
Right,
Light."
right.
So anyway, neither of us know which is which. We're just going to taste them, and
Which one? This one's
this
first?
this is
Okay.
A. These are the
Okay.
same.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's German, all right.
That is German. Has a slight bitter aftertaste.
Yep.
I would
Yeah.
say 2024 late.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I think the beers have vintage.
I don't know.
I thought they go skunky after a while.
Yeah.
But okay, this is. I hope this is not the high-end beer.
It's fine. It's fine. You're right. I would say if this is the high-end beer, I would be a little disappointed.
I should sip water now. But
Yep.
Yeah, it has flavor.
Right.
You knew it was German.
Yes.
Right off the top.
Yep. We need pretzels.
We do. That's more darker. This one even looks darker, so let's
Okay.
just assume this is darker. I don't know what that means, but
A little more malty.
yeah, creamier.
Yes, creamier.
Smoother.
Yep. Not a little less bitter though.
Much less bitter.
Yes.
Much less bitter.
Now I'm going to say they're both good. I do think this one, we'll have to check in a bit, is probably the high-end one.
Yeah.
But that one is definitely servable to
Yeah.
friends.
This one I would drink. I
Yes.
like, I
buy
like
this
the
one to
darker
drink
beers.
for yourself, and this one you serve to friends.
This is a smoother, darker beer, which I like. I don't know if this. I don't know if this is an ale. It's not sharp enough for an ale.
No. I'm going to say I almost prefer
it's good.
this one, which we're going to call the cheap one for now.
Gas station beer.
Yes.
All right, we can look at the bottom, and I can tell you what they are.
This is K.
K. All right, I know what that is. K is Kronbacher.
Okay,
Kronbacher.
that sounds like a ripoff, like a cheap beer.
This is gas station. This is Germany's gas station beer. So actually,
Okay.
very good, Jerry. That was we identified that very well. We both kind of knew.
Yes.
This one now, Paul Anner, I've heard of. I kind of remember that Paul Anner.
Yes.
Oktoberfest Marzen. I did not taste a lot of Oktoberfest. I like Oktoberfest.
I agree. That one does not even taste like a Pilsner. Is that a?
Oh, what
It's
is that?
malty,
Right.
more malty.
It doesn't really
This is a
say.
Pilsner. But
Well, okay.
all right,
So we picked that right, but I would not say Oktoberfest.
right, and let the record show that we do disagree on the beers. I think Tim did favor the higher end one, and I was okay with the cheap gas station beer.
Right. So, all right. Now let's. I don't even know where to start this one, Jerry. But
I could start.
I'm going
if
to
you
ask
like.
you.
Okay.
Can you give me your libertard take
Yes,
on
yes.
Not the characters, but the story, the DOGE story.
Yes, yes, perfectly fine. DOGE went in under the premise, from my understanding, this is from my understanding, I apologize if I have mistakes, that the government was full of waste, fraud, and abuse, and needed fixing. It's a large organization. The government spends $6 trillion a year. I can't fathom what that looks like. I think the military alone is $900 billion a year. So a lot of money, a lot of details. They went in with the premise that there's a problem here. They didn't document the problem. They just went in with that premise. They had 3 tools or images. The first image was the chainsaw. The Elon Musk with the chainsaw was a big picture. The main primary tool they used, one of them was AI, which is still, as we see, somewhat in its infancy. And the boots on the ground were largely network software engineers. So that's
Correct.
my understanding of the story.
Do you have a position on any of it from the libertard perspective? Were you
Yes,
for it? Were you against it? Like when they were brought up, what did you think about it?
I've worked in government for a while, just to get that out there, and I do agree with the need for evaluating government efforts. Very often, government is asked to do a variety of tasks, and it doesn't always have provided the level of resources it requires. There's no competition to force government to be efficient that is in the private sector. So the private sector, you got 3 companies producing a widget, 1 or 2 are more efficient than the other one. To survive, one doesn't. You don't have that in government. And government does something that really you can't stop. You don't want to stop giving us security checks or food safety. So I agreed with the concept of going into government and looking at opportunities for efficiency with some outsiders doing it who haven't been in on the day-to-day. I was unhappy with the approach, though, of the chainsaw and the slicing and dicing, because I think you end up, last point, you end up killing mice by using a bazooka, and then you don't really have a house to live in.
So, and I don't know that this necessarily would be a deplorable's position, but it is my position. I, as a businessman, as somebody who's owned his own business for many decades, I do watch every line.
Yes.
Every single line is known.
Yes.
And I learned early on in my business career, I can't spend that money that I don't have.
Right.
Or at a minimum, I don't know where it's coming from by the time it's due. Right? First lesson I learned, and when you make a couple of mistakes, you will not do that again if you want to stay in business. I have friends who went out of business. So I was not looking for a chainsaw. I was absolutely looking for an atomic bomb. I absolutely wanted to break stuff.
Now, let me ask you a question. Based on what? Because in your business, if you come in with if you're having trouble and you want to find out where the trouble is and fix it, how does coming in with an atom bomb or a chainsaw help?
Because since I am paying attention at all to our government and our politics, the budget has never is always an argument. They're always uncovering extraordinary waste, but nobody does anything about it ever. Now, I don't know if you want to dig in yet because we're going to run out of time in this first segment, but what they had uncovered proves not just that there was waste, but that there's tons of absurd, fraudulent waste. Not all.
I would like to hear some examples, because my understanding is, and one of the problems is the definition of waste, particularly in a democracy versus a private sector business.
Okay.
But I have not heard tremendous examples of waste.
Okay, let's just go, because you're going to remember this story. And I'm so glad you said that. It reminded me that you're in government. You used to work for Long Island Railroad.
Correct.
And I got up on the train platform.
Yes.
And I watched 2 trucks.
Yes.
3 men get out of each truck, bring up their equipment up to the platform to change a light bulb.
Yes.
And I took pictures. I wish
Yes.
I'd even thought of this.
Yeah, that would be great.
We're talking about waste.
Yes,
I have the
yes,
picture.
Yeah, five guys, six
men,
people to
six
change a
men.
light bulb.
3 out of each truck.
Yep.
Up there. Now, I will
Yes.
admit, when I said, Jared, this is crazy.
Yes.
This is wasteful. This is insane.
Yes.
You did tell me every single union representing every single one of those men.
I took it to the chief engineer, agreeing with you that this seems to be waste, and I got an explanation of why it took 6 people. I'm not saying I agreed with it, and certainly that does appear to be waste. Now you have to have certain safety precautions because you're on a platform with high-speed trains. But does it take 6, not 2? And that certainly is an opportunity for efficiencies. Agree.
Yeah.
The difference, where we disagree, I think, is to me, to get that, it's a scalpel, not an atomic bomb.
Okay. So we do have to take our first break, but I will explain what I learned about the scalpel and why because in reality, they did use a scalpel. They did not use an atomic bomb. They did use a scalpel, and that is why those software engineers, the only way it can be done. The only way it can be done is deciphering with a scalpel. So you are right about that.
I disagree the software engineers did it, but we'll talk in the next segment.
All right, we will. So we're going to throw it over to Bobby. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a few minutes. So yeah, welcome back everybody. And I know this is our 3rd episode. I still laugh at, as we sit here drinking beer, we are looking at commercials for healthy living, healthy lifestyle. 90% of the time, I live that lifestyle.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But let's just take one
Eat
more
your
sip.
fruit and vegetables.
I'm going to drink the Polaner.
Yeah, me too.
Because it is definitely my favorites.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. I'll put that on my list of.
Maybe for one episode we'll have
beers.
a bowl of fruit in front of us too.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, it's not bad, but it's close to skunky, but it's not. Okay.
We left off with talking about waste.
Right, so.
And chainsaws.
And chainsaws, atom bombs, scalpels. So I don't want this to sound the wrong way, right? So I'm not some Elon Musk fanboy. I enjoy the Tesla product, even though I don't own one. I like the Tesla story. I like to see where it all goes. It's clever and
I like the excitement Musk has brought to certain industries in America,
Yeah.
SpaceX, Tesla, and actually PayPal too. And where he's going for Neuralink, he's bundle of energy, and he's doing good economic things.
So the interesting thing about Elon Musk, though, is that if you've ever watched the show The Big Bang Theory, and I think in no uncertain terms, he is Sheldon Cooper, right? He is that extraordinary brain, but he really lacks the social skills, perhaps. I think like his issues with people, especially people of authority, and I'll just
Yes.
leave it.
And he goes in with a little bit of arrogance.
Yeah, because he knows he's right,
yes.
right? In his
Yes.
world.
Yes. And I'm going to just say, if I could, a story about Elon Musk. So he likes to test things by trying it. And that could work. One of the famous ones is he put up, he didn't think the fuel tanks needed baffles to prevent the fuel from sloshing around.
Right.
So he took the baffles out and decided to test it by launching the rocket, not
Right.
just testing it in a, in a
In a
laboratory.
lab, yeah.
Rocket blew up. And you know what? You're in the private sector. That's your money. If you, that's the way you want to go.
Proved it one way or the other. Right.
I just don't think it works for government. But go ahead.
Okay, so I want to make clear that I enjoy it, but I'm not some fanboy who's just going to agree with everything that happens there. But this is what really bothered me. So he did get these extraordinarily smart computer geek people, for lack of a better word, to go into the systems, and I'm not going to claim I understand how they did it, how they did this. But even today, a judge says to the DOGE team, "You can't go into those databases," which to me, in my head, it's going like, "This is our money. Why can't?"
The reason, there's a reason why. There's a reason.
All right, let me just finish this thought. So I am going to read now, because this is the stuff that I really had to kind of prove in my own head. I had to go look it up. So let's just start with USAID, right? So are there parts of USAID that are good? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. What percentage do you think was good?
See, well, I'm going to pause
All
on
right,
that.
let me continue.
No.
I have to get through this.
Okay.
All right, so they asked for evidence that the purpose of this particular project, and we need evidence. Can you show us that the money you were given went to this cause? How many of them were able to do that? 12% were able to show some level of evidence that the money that they were given was used and received by the people it was supposed to be received by. 88% had zero evidence, none. So to me, automatically, 88% of that is questionable.
I would have to know more
All
about how that test was devised and what success is. I'm not saying that every dollar spent in USAID is correct, but even Bill Gates has said probably 100 million people, millions of people have probably died because we were supporting people who were in need in other countries.
Okay.
It was soft diplomacy that was adding a lot of value.
Okay,
And
so let me.
taking an atom bomb to it.
I have to interrupt the
Taking an
libertard
atom bomb
here.
to it is taking a scalpel to it is fine.
So first of all, the ones that were able to absolutely show evidence, like this is working. What we are doing is working. All they did was move them to another department and say, please continue. We love your work. Please continue. And I'll get to it, because half of the stuff, most of the stuff that we're going to talk about today makes no difference anyway. We'll get to that. But here's what the problem was.
I disagree with that. It makes difference to people, but go ahead.
The people?
Yes.
Not the government. All right, so the CIA, turns out, the CIA is funneling funds through NGOs, non-government organizations, into USAID, and the NGOs, the way I describe, these are my own words, those NGOs to me are like the mafia-owned oil import companies. Hold on, let me finish. The mafia entertainment bars and all that.
We say crime, not mafia. Go ahead.
Crime. It's a way that you can put money in and funnel it in virtually any way you want. Now, how did they do it? One NGO got the big money, and they sent it to 20 other NGOs, who sent it to 20 other NGOs, who sent it to 20 other NGOs, until it finally reached somewhere at the bottom. Some of them are in the 12%. Some of them actually, even though it went through this crazy maze to get there, eventually did go to people, and those are saved. The rest were not.
Now, do you have more information on how this test was done?
Okay.
Now, first of all, secondly, I think it's critical to remember that without knowing the test, and I'm concerned about the anecdotal information about the CIA being involved in a few.
Yep.
But it's Congress that sets the priorities.
We will get to that.
And not the president. They just execute it.
We will get to that, because I'm not disagreeing with you. So the NGOs, in my opinion, at a minimum, unscrupulous, the majority of them. And I'm only talking about...
I think I'm concerned that's anecdotal.
Let me finish.
Deplorable as facts. Go ahead.
I have the floor. And in my opinion, some of these cases, it's outright illegal. What has happened with our money. So what they did is Elon's software engineers had to go into these databases, and this is why humans would have taken 100 years for the humans to follow the dollars through this extraordinary maze. They had, and this is what I looked up. It was 50 networked computers, 50 of the top powered network computers to figure out this maze, which in many cases many consider it deliberate, so that a human could never have figured this out.
So, first question.
Yeah.
Many questions. First question. The premise that just because the CIA was involved, it was bad,
Yes.
doesn't necessarily hold true.
No, I didn't. Did you hear me say it was bad?
Well, you implied that
Because we know what the CIA does.
The CIA
we know
has
that
done-
they're going out there to try to overthrow other
the
governments. We know
CIA
what
does
they
have
do.
a history of doing things like
Yeah.
that, absolutely. But it also is our intelligence gathering
And they have
entity.
their money.
Yes.
They are given money.
Yes.
Now they want more.
I'm not surprised. But DOGE is more than just the USID.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
it's way bigger.
Yes.
Okay, so some of the other things that were uncovered, again, I just want to reiterate, it could be assumed, a deplorable might assume it, that some of this was done on purpose, consciously, so that no human could figure it out. And if it wasn't for these very, very smart men with very big computers, it may never have been figured out. But in business, if you write a check to somebody, you have to write what it was for. It has to be on the check or in the field where you wrote it, and it wasn't. The majority of these checks
Okay.
are getting written.
So you've pulled some anecdotal information in. I've read that DOGE, and let's go back to the broader
Yeah.
DOGE, has not succeeded. The Wall Street Journal indicated it was a failure.
Of course the Wall Street Journal would. So would the New York Times. So would Newsday.
Okay. So
So would CNN, MSNBC. Absolute
the
failure.
roll of receipts do not add up to the claims. The original claim expectation was $2 trillion. That was lowered to $1 trillion. That was lowered to $150 billion. And yet when the roll of receipts is added up, they don't come anywhere near that much. Not to mention what the impact of canceling contracts is. One of the examples is there was one contract that took credit for $8 billion in savings. It was $8 million. Putting aside what the impacted contract was going to do. Another example is the government uses what they call umbrella contracts. So you put a contract in place for $20 million to buy widgets. You don't buy $20 million of widgets. It's a ceiling that agencies would be funded to purchase up to. You would only save what the agencies are funded to purchase, not the contract value. So, but DOGE took the $100 million umbrella contracts and said that's what we saved, but it was nowhere near that amount. So, and another nonpartisan group called Partnership for Public Service or something felt that DOGE may actually result in higher costs. We all know the anecdotal stuff of where the people in the nuclear regulatory agency were first fired and then brought back because they maintained the weapons systems.
Jerry, so even if I believed everything you just said, even if I did...
Which is documented, but go ahead.
Of course it is. It's documented. And Elon did not document anything? The guy who's saying document everything
Well, they're
didn't?
saying they looked at Elon's documentations and it didn't add up.
Of course. I believe that is exactly what they believe. I believe that they believe that.
Right.
What you're saying, though, is that all of this is nonsense and that
Go ahead.
the majority of this is nonsense and that our government is working perfectly fine with trillions and trillions of dollars of debt increasing every single hour.
So there's but the debt is one issue. The debt is a gap between revenue and expenses, and that is a big problem. And I agree with Musk that should be addressed. We spend $900 billion a year on debt service.
Yes.
That's a big credit card.
Now, mind you, Musk does not say it should be. He goes, it must be.
Absolutely.
If it's not done, we may say goodbye to our federal government.
It's one thing to run a deficit like that in a time of war or a time of extreme emergency, but we're not in that right now. But Trump's, and this is their breakup, is the big, beautiful budget would actually increase that deficit, not decrease. No matter how you slice and
Yeah,
dice
of
it,
course, Jerry.
it is.
Listen.
Every analysis says it's going to increase that deficit. But let's go back to the expense side, because that's
Yep.
that's the revenue. That's the gap between revenue
Yep.
and expenses.
Yep.
On the expense side, it's a big government, does a lot of complicated things, almost absolutely opportunities for efficiency. But what is efficiency? Well, one, efficiency could be doing things better with fewer resources or not doing certain things.
Right.
On the not doing certain things, the problem there is, in a lot of cases, it's the Congress who has the power of the purse, who has decided, like a board of trustees or corporate board,
Yep.
to go ahead and do something. In a democracy versus a private corporation, that's going to be messier. Private corporation generally has a very monolithic type view as to what you want to accomplish. Mm-hmm. In a democracy, you've got multiple views. And those multiple views may play out in a compromise legislation that says, I'm going to do these 6 things. And maybe some of them don't make sense. It would be great to give feedback on what doesn't make sense. But it's not the president nor his appointees to decide to not implement the congressional action.
Yeah.
Congress is the power of the purse, and the president is responsible for execution. And you want the execution to be efficient, so absolutely.
All right.
But
I just want to say that the way you delivered everything you just said and the words you used, the way it's all described, is pure libertard talk. It was definition libertard.
well, I'm going to say that zeroing in on some anecdotal information with the CIA.
I don't think this is anecdotal. I literally went and looked this stuff up. Now, there are people who are going to disagree. Of course
Yes,
they are.
yes.
It's just what happens. And maybe in our last segment, because what you did say that I completely agree with is that you kept referring to Congress. And I have a massive, massive problem with Congress. And maybe it is government in general. Maybe we deplorables. I can't speak for all conservatives. I can't. But I am really, really for small government. And we have gotten so insanely large.
We've gotten large, but think about the large reality. Let's put government aside for a second. Most things in our lives have gotten more complicated, right? A car. No one is going out buying a Model T with no windows and terrible brakes and manual shift. No, you're buying a car. You're spending more money, but you're getting a car with safety devices, comfortable seats, air conditioning, power brakes. So typewriters. We don't have cheap typewriters anymore. We have laptops. So a lot of things in life have gotten, as science and technology have evolved, which is great. We're beneficiaries of this. We have MRI machines, CAT scans.
All right, what does this have to do with the government paying for a harmonica association in Kazakhstan?
If things have gotten more complicated. If there's
That's not complicated.
No. So but I don't think the majority of the federal spending or is going to harmonica stands, if there is a harmonica stand in a different country.
Let me clarify. If you allow, let's just say it's $250,000, because that's a low number in this world. You allow $250,000 to go to a harmonica association in Kazakhstan, that is just a signal of what is going on in our government.
I'm going to challenge that indirectly in a second. First off, though, from staying with the political side, if Congress has voted to do that, democracy isn't necessarily an efficient operation. It's a system to prevent abuse of power. And to prevent abuse of power, you have a system that has almost a built-in proposal to compromise.
Okay.
When you compromise, sometimes it's actually a benefit because everybody's a little bit right and you compromise.
Okay.
Sometimes you do things, to me, then the efficiency part, coming back to DOGE, would be to identify efforts that had an intention to outcome, a benefit that didn't materialize. Now, I can't speak to that particular stand, but let me address for a second some of the things Trump mentioned.
You're going to wrap it up this segment, so you're going to make it good because we have to go to a commercial. We'll be back.
Trump made some statements during his speech to Congress which proved to not be true. One of them I love is transgender mice. We were not spending money So here's Trump.
Oh, he's
and
right.
the Congress
They were only gay mice.
No, they weren't. No. They were no. They trans. No. I don't know. When one lies, it reduces trust, and it was transgenic mice. Money was being spent to modify mice to make them ready for various laboratory experiments. It wasn't changing the gender. It was transgenetic, not transgender. Likewise, Honda was not.
So did he lie or make a mistake?
I would say if the President of the United States is getting up in front of Congress and making a statement and it's not accurate, someone didn't do research or someone lied on purpose. And there was a number of other statements that were made, including Social Security. Social Security is not making payments to dead people. I mean,
He didn't say that. There are people who are dead people getting money.
Because when you die, it takes time for Social Security to know that.
But there were 100-year-old, 120-year-old people.
The data was entered into the system.
Yes.
Before things were streamlined, and the Social Security Administration opted to not spend money to remove people who were just
Well, that's just
inactive.
dumb. That's just dumb. Like, do your job, for God's sake. You're getting paid. Do your job.
But it was for them. It was a harmless thing. The people weren't getting paid. They were just still in the system. Fair enough. You can say that, and that's not. We're going to wrap up in a minute, but that's an opportunity, I do think, for improved automation and efficiency, and how to adapt technology to government is something DOGE could have done.
Maybe. But if you do notice, I just want to say that, like most, I wouldn't say libertarians, I'm just say most liberals, you'd rather say he lied than made a mistake, as opposed to the entire Biden administration, where it's just flub after flub after flub.
Oh, let's not go there. But I
No, but what I'm just saying is that, like, your instinct as a liberal is to do that.
Trump made a speech with numerous false statements in it, and there were false statements made to support his agenda.
Jerry, I have to pull the curtain down. Bobby, we're going to go to our break. We will come back. We are coming back.
We're coming back.
We have to take a break here and go to our commercial break. Bobby, send it off, please. So we put the boxing gloves down, and we're just going to keep talking normally here. We'll take one more sip of our beer.
Yeah, let's do that. And because I want to say that the boxing gloves can be fun, but really to understand each other, yelling and boxing doesn't help. And we really want to understand where each person's coming from.
100%. So this, again, just a comparison to the first commercial there for BIA, Botanicals, Energy, and Adaptogens. I know I put up a post recently about energy drinks and how unhealthy energy drinks are. The one you just saw is all natural caffeine. It's actually good for you. This, while delicious, not good for you.
Do this in moderation.
Last sip of the gas station beer.
Followed by the quality beer.
Maybe one more later. All right, so Jerry, I don't even remember where we just
We were
left
talking
off.
about lies and trust.
I don't even want to go there, right? Because I don't
Yeah,
want to.
yeah,
I don't want to
yep.
go there. That's not this topic. This topic is DOGE. And I really want to get back to DOGE.
Yeah.
The last thing I did not get to say to finish to you, I did talk about the the required fields that wasn't there. And to me, again, as a businessman, this disturbs me. It does disturb me, and it should. I hope it should disturb everybody. And this is where it gets difficult. I think some of the practices that they uncovered, while somebody else is going to say it's not proven or wrong, if this was the private sector, some of the things that were happening in our federal government or the NGOs that get this money and then keep funneling that money, some of these people would end up in jail if this was a publicly traded company. So I am very, very disturbed by that. And let me just finish this one thought.
Okay.
If it's your money, you figure it out. But it's not. It's my money. It's our money. And it bothers me that people have such wasteful approaches to our money. I know that we're not going to vote on harmonica associations in Kazakhstan. I know we're not going to vote on that. But the way our budget system works and the way we build these things is wrong. So I'm 100% for DOGE, even if it's an atom bomb and blows good stuff up, rebuild it. If we made and I think they did make a mistake
I
and
think
rebuilt
that's
it.
a very, very big difference, because in the private sector, where people are not relying upon you to provide security as outlined in the Constitution.
Yeah, but Jerry,
as outlined in the Constitution in the preamble, in the private sector, you can close the McDonald's store.
Yeah.
You can close the supermarket, the department store. Local people may be impacted, but government doesn't have, in many cases, not all, in many cases, that luxury. Or government is trying to promote change. So to go into a situation, to me, with an atom bomb or a chainsaw, and destroy the FDA or the CDC.
I didn't say that.
Or NOAA. He's taken the chainsaw to NOAA, National Oceanic Administration.
But if I told you that the FDA is corrupt, if I told you the FDA is corrupt,
it's a very general statement. You'd have to give me specifics. Now, I'll go back to the longer road. There may be opportunities to improve efficiency. A lot of times, the problems are built into work rule requirements, union requirements, safety regulations, and those should be evaluated and streamlined and improved while protecting customer safety.
if they should, why hasn't it been done in 100 years?
Yeah, and that's where I do think DOGE could have been successful exposing things like that, but coming in and just say blowing up, and let's say in the case of the railroad, if they did that, cut out whole departments. And cut out whole people without understanding the roles that they're performing and the benefits and the
But
need.
everybody's going to defend their position. Everybody's going to defend their job. Everybody's going to say, I'm important.
There's a way to have an outside person, an outside entity that's trustworthy, that can analyze it and then provide.
And did DOGE not do that? Are they
those
not trustworthy?
No, they honestly, that's a question.
Oh,
that's a
please,
question.
Come on, they have no interest.
No?
They have no self-interest.
Yes, they do. So Musk.
Of course they do.
Musk.
From the libertarian's perspective.
From the deplorable just wants to have the strong man come in and think that we can run government like a business and
Shouldn't it be?
And no, government is not a business. It runs very differently.
Well, apparently it doesn't run. In my opinion,
so
it doesn't run.
Most government entities are not running for a profit-oriented motive. So what is the profit-oriented motive? Let's say the police department. How many police do you need out there? If you were running a business, you could calculate the resource requirements for the output and come up to an optimal level. It's much harder in government to do that.
No, I'm going to figuratively disagree with you. Right? The police department does not make a profit. That's right. Nobody gets paid outside of their funds. But a quality police department who does their job raises the value of every single home because it's a secure community.
But it's harder to determine whether or not you need a detective bureau.
No, but you can know if there's what the murder rate is. There's evidence that this is or is not working, and we do nothing to change it.
And that's where DOGE can come in and provide better, or some entity come and provide better analysis. But just coming in with the chainsaw and having the chainsaw symbol and having the reality TV rah-rah.
No, it was
type
no
thing,
reality TV.
It was like a game show.
No, it was not.
But you
Jerry.
mentioned something about trust and Musk having no incentive. Well, that's actually not true. There are a variety of reports out there that have indicated that Musk was able to reduce his potential liability by $2 billion by some of the reductions and cuts he's made to the FDA, which was regulating his Neuralink, to the FAA, which was investigating some issues with SpaceX, and another agency that was investigating, I guess, Department of Transportation, Tesla, and issues with the autopilot. So Musk was able. The Senate committee indicated that Musk probably avoided $2 billion in potential liabilities by some of these actions, and Forbes reported that Musk possibly made $170 million by expanding certain contracts. So I don't think DOGE, the leadership of DOGE, was truly invested in a pure altruistic type effort. He had an agenda, and yeah.
I'm going to repeat myself that I don't think Elon Musk needs any of our money. I don't think he does, and I don't think that's his incentive, because when he took his PayPal money, what did he do? He invested it in 3 new companies. All the risk on his own. He wants to improve the quality of life of human beings. I believe that. I do think, and I
don't agree with how he's approaching it, but just because he doesn't need more money doesn't mean he's not motivated by saving his company's money.
Your take, or whoever, Forbes, or whoever you said that was.
Forbes and the Senate committee.
Yeah, and the Senate committee, and I can just guess who's running the Senate committee, but let's just say a Senate committee is investigating this, and there is an agenda. Now, like many deplorables, I really think we are so overregulated, so unbearably overregulated, that my instinct, and this is just an instinct, I have no data, whatever he was trying to change as far as regulations are concerned, I do believe it was not because he was going to benefit from that.
So I'll agree with you that there's a potential out there, probably more than potential, that we are probably overregulated, and we try to do too much at one time. For example, I'm recently reading a book about developing chip factories here, and we layered.
I just read a whole big.
We layered so many requirements in this national security great thing that we kind of sabotaged it. So yes, I will agree with you that regulations can be definitely a hidden bad thing, but at the same time, that regulation prevents, the pig farm being put next to your house, or regulation prevents companies from dumping toxic waste into the water system.
I'm not arguing that their existence should be there. I'm not
Right,
arguing that.
right.
I'm just arguing that we have gotten out of control, and the same way you talk about why there's 6 guys doing a light bulb.
Yep.
Some of them are just wrong.
And
or from the 50s or the 30s.
And I think the primary reason is in the private sector, there would be an economic incentive to keep revisiting how things are done. In the public sector, it tends to be done once it's locked in place, nobody looks at it again. And that's where I think DOGE could have added a lot of value by really digging into some of these things and putting them out there, not just cutting contracts and getting quick wins, or cutting headcount and getting quick wins, because what you're doing is going with a chainsaw, not a scalpel.
Well, I did disagree. Now, I don't know that my answer is right. I don't know that I have the right answer. My approach is the right way. But I do disagree. I think that I am just tired, because I know that if we take your approach, Jerry, zero will happen. Oh, you lost my mic. Hey, let's take a break. Jerry, can you hear me? My bad. We're going to take a break. We're going to wrap it up right after this. All right. Well, a little technical issue.
Actually, just to be fully transparent, the Deplorables mic went out because a libtard somehow manipulated the mic from a distance, and there's a conspiracy theory.
I believe it. I believe it. All right, we do have to wrap it up now, Joe. But let's just take our favorite beer, whichever one is.
All right, I'm going to go for the gasoline cheap stuff.
All right, there we go.
high octane.
And the shake about I do the shakes and I do the greens every single day. Even when I am going out for lunch or I will have that shake in the morning. Boom, just to get everything in.
We agree on this. We both have lost weight over the years, and eating well, eating healthy, exercising is so important to a long, fruitful life.
Yep. And weight, obesity and weight is not in and of itself the problem. It's being unhealthy.
Yes.
Weight is a byproduct of
Yes. Yes. Still having technical difficulties. But we argue, but I'll just note that we come back to friendship, and we come back to both being very patriotic Americans. We both love the country. We may debate about how best to love a country, or just like parents may debate about how best to raise a child or to love a child, but they both love that child. And that debate is probably healthy because each side does then see and learn from the other. If we only talk to our group, we're not learning anything.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find that when we because I have stopped watching a TV channel, right? Because I just like I'll never escape this bubble, and I know that most people don't. And I have actually lost friends because they just can't look outside of that bubble. I don't lose friends, myself. I'd never do that. Never ever.
Everybody should escape outside their bubble, seek alternative information.
Yeah.
And think about it.
So I'm just going to wrap this up with this, Jared. I guess my last statement, shall we say. I am for smaller government. I go all the way back to the founding fathers and what they thought this country could be. And I think that I'm for, listen, you know, my own family benefits from some Social Security. Only in one small instance, but I'm grateful for it. I'm not against
Social Security is our government having a program where they transfer money that you're putting into today to somebody else, and somebody will put it. So it's our government, our money. We just have this program.
Yeah. So I want to be crystal clear. I don't want to help people. I don't want to stop helping people who need our help. Like, I think that we are a very generous country, a very generous people. In most cases, though, Jerry, I will tell you that, and I had this discussion earlier today, I would much rather give my money to a private entity who's going to go help those kids in Africa, or if I choose to build a harmonica association in Kazakhstan, I'd rather the private sector do that, because I think that we are generous like that. I don't think that there's anything efficient about our government, and our government should not be doing so much of it. Again, not opposed to it. I had the privilege of not meeting, but I recorded George W. Bush.
Yes.
And he took a lot of heat. And I hope I'm going to say this the right way because I don't remember. He took a lot of heat because he had sent an extraordinary amount of money and energy to the orphans in Africa.
Right. After AIDS, I believe, right?
I think
it was. I think it was a response.
All these parents had passed.
Yes.
And he said, "Listen, I took a lot of heat," but he explained that despite the pressure, why he had to do it. Right. It's because basically, if we did not take care of these kids, they'd become the next terrorists. Yes. So I'm not opposed to this, but I think that our government has gotten so bloated and so large. And my last statement is this, because I want to refer to Congress. I do believe that these things that DOGE has uncovered and these NGOs and this money laundering, I do believe that. And I think that the reason that nobody wants to do anything about it is because they're all in on it.
So I'm going to say,
I do believe that.
I want to wrap it up. I'm going to say that that is not, that maybe if it is, I'll grant you it's there, and I don't know for certain, but let's say it is, it's not $150 billion, it's not $1 trillion, it's not the reason why we have a deficit.
Oh, I disagree. I just disagree. Disagree.
I do think we both agree that government should be more efficient, and I agree with...
Would you say smaller?
I don't know. I do agree that government and private sector need to balance out, but there are certain things that government will do better. Government does better with basic science research that isn't necessarily going to be profitable right away, but
If you're
profitable
referring to
down the road.
FDA, I'm going to tell you you're not accurate.
No, and besides the FDA, there's other areas that the government does. In fact,
The FDA,
military,
in fact, poisons us.
Military does a lot of science. Military invested in developed the internet.
I wouldn't argue that. I wouldn't
so a
argue
lot
that.
of the basic research on.
I want our government protecting us. I want a very substantial military. Yeah. I agree with all that.
But at the end of the day, democracies are not going to be efficient because we have 500, 600 people in Congress who may have different views and have to come and vote on a funding package. And maybe a slight inefficient country government is the price of a strong democracy. That said, I do believe that we should not give up efforts to streamline it and make it more efficient and effective.
All right. Wrap it up.
I think that's pretty much the wrap up. We both love the country. Mm-hmm. We both want an effective and efficient government. Mm-hmm. Although Tim felt that the DOGE approach was appropriate, I very much don't. I'm afraid that we may have hurt an ability to truly root out problems in government, and because of all the backlash to the way DOGE approached it. But I think we both are concerned about the level of spending versus revenue, and that because we cannot continue to operate in a deficit environment.
The way we are. We're
Yes.
paying so much in interest.
Yes.
It's like any other loan
Yes.
a person takes. You
Yes.
just can't afford to do it.
Yes.
And my last statement, right? So I do believe that DOGE has uncovered some terrible, terrible things that are going on in our government spending. I do want them to expose it, which I think that they have. Of course, I do believe that for some reason, others are going to disagree. And I'm not saying even libertarians, because I think that there's so much interest and money being spread around that I think all parties are not going to do anything.
I would love to see money get out of politics, first off. So
Yeah.
there is too much money going around.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave up by saying that the deplorables, I think, are focusing on some esoteric, some specific bad, maybe examples, and it doesn't explain some of the contracts that were inflated when they said they saved money. So anyway,
I just disagree. I outright disagree.
But we remain friends.
We're still friends. We're just two dudes arguing life over beer. Episode 4, we don't even know what the topic is, but we will get back to you real soon. We're going to wrap it up here. Bobby, no more breaks. We're done. Thank you, everybody. Have a great, great night.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Music exit.
Tuning in. Yeah.